So you may know, but Tower Defense Simulator does have a public bug reports form that testers fill out from tickets that the community have sent in. Recently, there's been an update that apparently has fixed some of these, and today we'll address that. Spoiler alert, yes, not all of these bugs have actually been fixed. Okay, so in this update, they've fixed the fact that the Gatling gun now works in the Duck Hunt event. As you can see here, the Gatling gun works, because previously it didn't work. Yeah, so for some reason, in the Duck Hunt event, or sorry, the Duck Revenge event, for some reason here it didn't work, whereas in other game modes it did. It might have something to do with the hitbox of these enemies, I don't know, but in any case, it doesn't work, but seemingly it can't hit the flying enemies, except, maybe it can, it was just, I can't see their hitbox for some reason. That or the hitbox is on the floor. It's most likely on the floor somewhere, but I just can't seem to damage flying enemies. Let's see. Yeah, so the hitbox for the flying ducks, they're on the floor. They're not in the sky. So yeah, do bear that in mind when using the Gatling gun. I mean, I doubt anyone's using the Gatling gun in the Ducky Revenge event, but just to note if you are using it, that it's not in the sky, as you would think it would be. Next is apparently a fix that they've done to allow collision damage from units to contribute to damage dealer quests. So I have a damage dealer quest here, 250,000 damage dealt. Let's see if the developers have actually fixed it. Here it comes out, and does it collide with these enemies? Yes, it does, and it does contribute to damage dealt. Very cool. Next is a fix that they've made to multiple maps with the All Paths modifier, where the Brute, the Fallen Swordmaster, and the Molten Warlord would duplicate on these maps with All Paths. Major bosses aren't meant to do this unless I believe they are the mid-game ones, not the end game ones, but let's see if they've actually fixed it on Space City, which a map I haven't actually won yet. So yes, as you can see here, normal bosses, even though they are bosses for the states and purposes of this game, on this wave only, they are still duplicated on this map. Same also applies to the Necromancer and the Slow Boss in easy mode, and I assume for other game modes with mini bosses that are bosses with the boss attribute in the mid game for other game modes. I'll have to assume that this isn't a glitch, otherwise they would have recognized it, but who knows at this point, it could be a glitch. So, the final wave, moment of truth, and yes, only one spawns the Brute here. It will probably be a random path. Well, not really a random path, it doesn't change between each map, but it will always be on the same path, but it won't be like, say, the left path or the right path. And in fact, if you restart, it actually may change paths. But yes, can confirm that the Brute does now only spawn on one path now, not duplicated, and I assume, like the other enemies mentioned, that being the Fallen Swordmaster and the Molten Warlord, they are also not duplicated or triplicated or quadruplicated, depending on the amount of paths there are on the map. Very cool. This is also my first triumph of the new Space City map. Very cool indeed. And I get one timescale ticket. To replenish the timescale ticket I used it. Very cool, developers. Next, they fixed the slasher stack, not applying its stack if there is like another slasher's stack being applied to it. So as you can see here, the slasher, it does its stack. Very cool, very cool. I think it was 14 shown there, but then if I get another slasher and then get a bulwark again, it should be more, because previously it only came from one tower. Yes, as you can see, it actually stacks from both the towers now to, I believe it said 28, and then it did the explosion thing. Seems like they fixed that now. Next, apparently they fixed the projectiles for the baseball mortar, because previously the projectiles would land near their feet rather than inside the cannon or onto the enemy. So it seems like they should be fixed now. Yep, so there's a baseball there being loaded correctly. Okay, max level. Meanwhile, this being, I mean, it's okay. It's okay. It does shoot. It shoots correctly. Very cool. Cool animations as well for the baseball mortar. Very cool indeed. So a fix that they've also apparently made is to the plushie skins, because previously some plushie skins didn't have their placement particles when placed down. However, this only applied to some plushie skins, and in fact the developers claimed to have fixed it in an update. However, they didn't actually fix it. So I believe for the plushie scouts it was already fixed. So yeah, as you can see, plushie scout has placement particles. The engineer is a tower that they said they fixed, but they didn't fix. So have they fixed it? No. Okay, what about the golden plushie minigunner? Another skin that they haven't fixed. Jesus Lord above. Yo, developers, you said you addressed it here, yeah? You haven't. Next, a bug fix for the classic military base, where The Humvee 3 did not have any animations when it spawned into the game, and it was only the Humvee 3 that was affected. For some reason, the other skins were not affected by this, so seems like it does have some animations while riding. What about animations when shooting? For this, we obviously need an enemy, so let's spawn in an aged egg roll, for example. Yep, seems to shoot just fine. No issues there, at least. And goes back to normal after it shoots its enemies dead. So yeah, seems to work just fine. Next, the Neko Commander at level 2 and 3 previously did not play a shooting animation or generate any gunshot sounds when using the Call to Arms ability. However, apparently in this update, this has now been fixed, so let's see. Okay, yes, it has been fixed indeed, and it does have the revolver that's meant to have. Very cool. Next, there was an issue with the Galactic Commander, where if you upgraded it to max level, it didn't have any animations. However, can confirm it does work. For some reason, this only applied to the first Galactic Commander when placed down. If you place down more Galactic Commanders, it eventually fixed itself, apart from the first commander that you placed down. But it's been fixed anyways. Next, there was an issue where certain tower stuff weren't being muted by this tower section here. So one of these was the commander voice line, and you can probably hear, or you probably can't hear, this is now muted. Other sounds included the Pumpkin Rocketeer's explosion and the Mako DJ Boost switch voice lines, and Jester explosions not being muted. I assume they have now been fixed in Tower Defense Simulator. And there are 3 issues here that the developers said that they needed more info. So, developers, here, I'm gonna test these out for you, okay? At max level, the Sledger is claimed to have 6 max hits, okay? Seen here. However, if we were to get 7 abnormals, for example, right, they should be able to... They all die in one swing, as seen there. Actually, it's better seen with the without the Sledger having the aftershock. So here, at level 0, it has 2 max hits because of this implied upgrade, 2 to 3. At level 1, meaning that at level 0, it has a max hit of 2. Now, if I were to spawn in 3 abnormals, for example, it damages them all. Okay, so if I were to spawn in 4 abnormals, does it damage them all? Let's see. No, it leaves 1 behind, showing that the max hits for the Sledger is 1 above than what it should be. I don't believe it is a fluke at just this level. I believe it is a fluke at all levels. So let's do level 2, for example. Here, the max hits is meant to be 4. However, its max hits is actually 5. So if I were to spawn in an abnormal, 5 abnormals at this level, you'll see all of them get damaged. But then if I spawn in 6 abnormals, do they all get damaged? No. So, the max hits is 1 above than what is stated in the upgrade description. Either the upgrade description is incorrect, or the Sledger itself is broken. Well, not broken per se, but its max hit is 1 above than what it should be. Next, the developers said here that they needed more information about the Love Struck crate being hidden from player view, disallowing the ability to open or view said crates. Developers, right? You even said it yourself. You said that the Love Struck crate isn't gone from your save, it's just hidden from your UI. We will push out an update for it. I would like to point out, I bought a spare Love Struck crate. I don't have it here. I don't have it in the event. I don't have it up here. Now, apparently, there is an issue where the Rocketeer's damage fluctuates between 32 and 90. I'll probably have to set this timescale to 0.01 just to see this. So, apparently for the failed experiment, which doesn't have defense, mind you, which could be affected by this, apparently does have fluctuating damage for the Rocketeer. In the video that I just saw, apparently it's for the Pumpkin Rocketeer, and as you just saw, it actually did deal 32 damage for some reason. I don't know why this is the case. Yeah, 32 damage for the Pumpkin Rocketeer, when the Pumpkin Rocketeer should actually be dealing 90 damage. Now, I do wonder if this is an issue with either the Rocketeer skin I'm using and or the enemy using. So I'll use, say, the Duck Rocketeer to test this out. So the Ducky Rocketeer, how much damage did it do? 32 and then 90. So how much total? So there's 32, 32, 32 and then 90. Okay, so that's extremely odd. What about, say, let's do an enemy which has a lot of health. Ducky Doom III. How much damage does the Rocketeer deal to Ducky Doom III if it moves? 32, 32, 54, 90. Again, that's a pretty odd amount of damage to do for the Rocketeer. No, wait, explosions are meant to ignore defense. So actually, the 90, it's meant to deal 90, and then sometimes it deals 54. Now, apparently, this is because the Rocketeer has damage drop-off. It's stated as a bug here, added on the 5th of February 2025. Now, damage drop-off is a weird thing that was implemented for original explosions in the game. However, when the developers updated the Rocketeer, they removed damage drop-off for the Rocketeer, so it doesn't matter how close an enemy is to the center of the Rocketeer's damage explosion radius, it's meant to be dealt the same uniform damage, that being 90. However, it seems like at all levels actually, but it's most noticeable at level 4 given the fact that the Rocketeer has less accuracy on an enemy. It seems as if damage drop-off has returned for the Rocketeer. Hence why you're seeing lower damage with the Rocketeer. This doesn't apply to the Mortar, which doesn't have damage drop-off, by the way. However, there are some so-called bugs that the developers have said that they will not fix. So one of these is if you resize your character and attempt to enter the portal, it may be glitchy and you may not be able to enter the portal. As you can see here, it took me to try to get to it. Now, this is because it is a Roblox collision issue and the developers said that they will not fix it. And finally, the Mortar at level 5 is meant to have, or was meant to have, a mushroom cloud for its explosion. However, the developers have said that they reverted it to have high quality explosions now, which means that a feature that has been on and off for the Mortar, that being the mushroom cloud, has been officially removed from the Mortar. Very sad days indeed.